recently got back from a 1-month solo trip to Rome. I was there from April 10th through May 8th. Is that a good time for you to visit Rome? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this video. We're going to get right into what you probably care about the most if you are considering taking a trip to Rome in April or May, which is, what's the weather like? This really was a transitional season in Rome. There were days where it was raining, pouring, the streets in the historic center were flooding, and there were days where it was 80 degrees out Fahrenheit during the afternoon. The typical weather that I experienced for really the entire duration, both in April and in the parts of my trip that fell in May, were that the mornings tended to be cooler. Usually in the mornings, I needed a scarf, I needed 2 or 3 layers of sweaters. I wasn't wearing a jacket, so for me, I layered with long sleeve sweaters and a denim jacket that I had with me. But then during the afternoon, usually around like noon, but definitely by 2 in the afternoon, it was hot, between 76 degrees to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. It felt really hot because the sun was at its peak those days. On the days when maybe it was a little bit cloudier, it didn't feel obviously quite as hot, but generally midday, the afternoons were hot and sunny. And then in the evening, when the sun went down, it would again become cooler. I wasn't usually out at night after dark, and I will say it was a bit hit or miss because I did go out one night in April around 10 p.m. and it was hot. I was in a sleeveless top and I was able to remain sleeveless the entire night and be just fine. But that was only one night. For the most part, it definitely got cool again. So what does this mean for packing? We're going to talk about that in a moment. But one other piece on the weather front here is you can expect there to be some rain, especially in April, but it was also in the forecast for the May part of my trip. There were also some really cloudy days. This is what we typically expect of spring anywhere where we have all the different seasons, right? The weather's starting to shift out of winter into summer, but there are some unpredictable days in that, and it's a transitional time. On the days that it did rain, there really weren't many or any days where it rained the entire time. Usually you had rain for a few hours. This time I was not staying in the historic center of Rome, but I know from a previous visit to Rome in November, which I have a different video, I will link to that. When it rains in the center of Rome, yeah, it does get a little floody. There's not the best drainage happening there when it rains a lot, when it pours. Be prepared for that if you are traveling to Rome in April. But again, it's hard to predict. Personally, I think Rome is beautiful in all seasons, even a rainy day in Rome. But of course, if you are visiting Rome and you know you want sun, 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 and you have a certain picture of Italy and Rome in your mind, I don't know if April is going to be the best time of year for you. You probably solidly want to visit in June, maybe September or October. Also July and August, but those are months I personally avoid because I can't handle the level of heat that Rome gets during those months. Let's talk about what to pack if you are visiting Rome in April and May. Given the fact that it's a really transitional season, you can probably guess that I'm going to encourage you to wear layers. For me, it was really not an ideal situation because I was staying out of the center of Rome. Normally what I would have done is if I were super central, maybe I would wear one thing in the morning and then go back home and rest a bit and change and go back out again in the afternoon in a dress or something more conducive to the heat of the afternoon. But as someone who was staying a little bit out of the city center, I was staying in the San Giovanni neighborhood, I needed to bring layers. I brought some lightweight and short sleeve collared tops to wear underneath sweaters. All of the things that I brought were lighter weight except for my denim jacket, which became basically my coat. So I would say you need at least one lightweight jacket and a few lighter weight sweaters and blouses and shirts. I did wear jeans. I did also bring a pair of linen pants for when it got hotter out, but I mostly was in jeans the entire time. This time of year, because Romans and Italians tend to dress not for the weather, but for the season, not many people were wearing sandals. I should say not many local people were wearing sandals. I also wore closed-toed shoes the entire time. You're going to walk a lot in Rome. You're probably going to walk more than you even imagine or plan to. It just somehow happens. So having really good walking shoes is important, and you need to check and make sure there's good traction on the bottom. In the past, I have been in Rome during a rainy season. Everything is very slippery. There are a lot of cobblestones, so having shoes with good ankle support is important. In certain places, the cobblestones are loose, so this is not a place for your heels, and if you must bring a heel, make it a block heel. If you have a couple different pairs of go-to daily walking shoes, you might also do that. If you're walking a lot, sometimes your feet get tired in one shoe, and the same shoe tends to hit the same pain points day after day. So for that reason, I always recommend bringing two pairs of shoes that you can swap between to sort of give your feet a break. There are, of course, many churches in Rome. You probably want to visit one or some of them, at least St. Peter's Basilica. For this, you do need to have some way to cover your shoulders and cover your knees on those days to show respect. One final thing I'll say here is bring a rain jacket. I have a super lightweight raincoat that I will link that I have been using for years. It packs up really tiny. It's just really easy to bring, and it's good to have on hand with the hood, again, in case you end up getting caught in the rain or have a rainy day in the forecast during your travel dates. Let's talk about crowds in Rome in April and May. You may have heard this said already, but there's really no off-season in Rome. Now, do I fully agree with this? Kind of. I'll have to go check it out for myself. I would say if there's any off-season these days, it's probably November through March. You're still going to have tourists there. There's still going to be crowds of people, but they might be a little bit smaller during that time of year. People used to think, and maybe this used to be the case, that April and October and maybe even September were shoulder seasons. Not anymore. I think also as warmer temperatures are lasting for longer periods of time, Rome is a destination now that's practically there year-round for tourists to enjoy. In fact, a few years ago, I was there in September, and it was almost too hot for my liking, even in September. So you can expect that there are going to be crowds in Rome in April and definitely in May. The more you get into summer, the more the crowds just go up. If you want a shot at fewer crowds, go earlier in the month of April. But even though there are going to be crowds, there are still some really great reasons to visit Rome in April and in May. This is when the greenery really starts to come alive in the city. The parks like Villa Borghese, Villa Ada, the Orange Garden, everything looks even more beautiful. It's a great time of year for picnics or even just a walk through any of these parks. Rome even has cherry blossoms. If you're there closer to early April, it's a little bit out of the city center where they are located, but they're there. The city is in full bloom. This is the time of year when the Spanish Steps have potted azaleas all up and down the steps, and it truly looks so beautiful. It's just a pretty floral time in the city. So many areas I walked past had a lot of jasmine flower in full bloom, and you could smell it. It was very fragrant. I'm not going to pretend like there aren't parts of the city that don't smell as pleasant, but that was a really nice surprise. There are also a number of festivals and celebrations happening in Rome at this time of year. One being Rome's birthday. So Rome's birthday is April 21st. Sadly, I somehow missed out on all of the celebrations, even though I was there, because I took a day trip and I didn't realize the birthday celebrations were happening the weekend before, because I believe Rome's birthday fell on a Tuesday this year. But I do know there were parades and shows all around the city to celebrate. So that's something that you could get involved in and would be a really cool reason to be in Rome in April. Also, if you're from the US, other countries make a much bigger deal out of Labor Day than we do. And I realized this because one day as I was walking to a particular basilica to be a tourist, I passed them doing a huge setup for some kind of musical event and found out that there was going to be a free concert to celebrate Labor Day for everyone in the city to come and enjoy. So that's another thing you could participate in. There are a few others that I will put in the description below. If you find yourself in Rome during April or May, these are activities and festivities that you may want to seek out and make sure you take part in. Now, let's talk about other things to do in Rome in April and some helpful tips you should definitely keep in mind. So of course, especially if this is your very first time to go to Rome, there are some things that you just have to do because it's your first time there, starting with the Colosseum. While I was in Rome during this time of year, my cousin who lives in Paris came to visit me, and it was her very first time in Rome. So of course she wanted to visit all of the major landmarks. She was able to get tour tickets, entry tickets for the Colosseum, for the Roman Forum on pretty short notice. But what she was not able to get were tickets to the Vatican museums. And let me tell you, we passed by that area. The lines were out of this world. My recommendation, I definitely think the Vatican museums are worth seeing at least once in your life. You should book your tickets well in advance. I will link to a post on my website that has a list of some really cool Vatican tours that you could sign up for, but you also could just buy direct museum tickets through the official website. This is one of those cases where even if you book a tour, you might not find availability for your exact travel dates because this gets booked up. It is one of the most popular things to do in Rome. So book your Vatican Museum tickets early, and I recommend booking them also for either really early in the day or later in the day. You want to avoid like mid-morning or peak afternoon because it's just, even if you can get in at that time, as someone who really dislikes crowds, not going to be the most pleasant experience. The line alone is not worth it in my opinion. What we were able to do without tickets is visit St. Peter's Basilica. It is free to do that, and even for that, we got there before it even opened. There was already a line forming. Luckily, because we were there early, we got in quickly and we were able to then go and have breakfast afterwards and start our day. But otherwise, I know people have waited hours to get inside the basilica. All that means is you need to be a little bit strategic with your planning. You need to think about what are the things you for sure want to do. Plan for that in advance, book those things in advance. I do not recommend doing 2 huge tourist attractions in the same day, like we're going to go to the Vatican in the morning and then the Colosseum at night, unless you're a masochist. That just sounds exhausting to me, and it's not going to feel fun. Aren't you going for fun? Leave some space, leave some breathing room in your itinerary to also just enjoy the city. This brings me to the next thing that you should do when you visit Rome in April or in May or any time of year. Lose yourself in the city. Even though it's so crowded and there are tourists everywhere, you will find side streets that you step onto that are quiet. No one is there. This is where you get to just enjoy the magic of Rome. Another great thing to do in Rome that we should have done, my cousin, when she visited me, we should have done it and we didn't, which is why I'm now telling you to do it. Take either a Vespa tour or one of those tours with the little cute cars. I'm going to link one of these tours so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. We saw some people doing this. It was adorable. It's cute. It's picturesque. It's a good photo opportunity, and it's just a fun way to see the city. Another great activity-based thing that I love to do in Rome is take a cooking class. This is something I do really most places where I travel, but Rome is where I first took a cooking class while traveling ever back in 2016. It was a pasta making class, and since then I have taught friends and family how to make pasta at home. It's a skills-based souvenir that I definitely recommend you pick up. There are really so many things you can do in Rome. I'm just going to mention 2 more here. One is, if your itinerary allows, you have enough time, take a day trip. I am doing another video where I talk about the 5 day trip ideas I recommend from Rome, so subscribe so you don't miss the update when that video goes live. But one of my favorite ones that I did on this trip was a day trip to Tivoli. It was beautiful. It was a fun way to get out of the center of Rome, beat the crowds for a little bit, and take in some stunning grounds, stunning gardens and fountains, and a charming smaller city. And finally, one thing you have to do if you are visiting Rome in April or in May, have an artichoke. It's artichoke season, and you can have it 2 ways. You can have the one that is alla romana, which is grilled and it has olive oil and mint. It's really beautifully plated, and there are different ways you eat them, so you might want to look into how to eat it. This one, you pick the leaves off and you scrape with your teeth and you put it to the side, and then you eat the heart when you get to the heart. If that sounds confusing or weird, look that up, how to eat artichoke alla romana. The other one is al giudeo, where it is the entire artichoke is deep fried and you eat each of the leaves, and it tastes like potato chips, and then the center tastes all buttery and nutty. And I'm sorry, I know I said that was the last one, but now that I think about it, it's also strawberry season. Strawberries in Rome, not the same as the strawberries we have here. Have some strawberries from the supermarket or from the fruttivendolo. Have strawberry gelato. So if you're considering visiting Rome next April or May, I hope this gives you a little bit of insight of what to expect and helps you decide whether or not you should go ahead and book your tickets. My verdict when it comes to going to Rome is always go ahead and book it.